do you ever actually make it? That's a question I always ask myself. Do you ever actually make it? And what does it take to get the goals that you want to have? I can tell you one thing, it is not easy, especially with all the emotional roller coaster that you have to go through along the many, many years it's going to take you to get to the goals that you want to get to. And to show you that it's possible for anybody to go from where you're at to where you want to be, I'm going to show you my journey. I'm going to show you the entire journey, how I started, the fears that I had, the emotional decision making that I had to go through, the growth that I had to go through to get to where I'm at currently. And again, I don't think I've made it. I don't think I'm anywhere close to quote unquote making it. I've got a long way to go, but I'm going to show you that it's possible. But before that though, make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. This is Austin Rutherford, where we talk business, finance, and real estate. So it all started in December of 2013 when I bought my first house at the age of 20 years old. What I can tell you is I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really have a mentor at the time. All I was doing was buying some books. I created an Excel spreadsheet. Luckily, I had very, very supportive parents that encouraged me to go out there and chase and pursue my dreams, but I really didn't know anything. And there were a lot of dark times along the way. You gotta understand, when you break apart from the norm, when everybody you know is going in this direction and you decide to break away, it's going to be difficult because you're going to get a lot of negative feedback from that. When I first started, I was still living in my parents' house. If you check these pictures out here, this is a picture of my office literally next to my bed. I would roll out of bed in the morning and I would jump in my office chair. And this picture here is a picture of me sending out marketing. Every single week, I would send out marketing from my business to go out to try and find motivated sellers to buy houses, to buy real estate. It was a very long, drawn out, tedious process. It was over a year of me researching and analyzing deals to make money in real estate, to buy my first rental property. Especially at that age, at the age of 19, 20 years old, you gotta understand, all my friends are in college. They're living the college dream. They're out there partying. They're out there going on spring break. They're out there hanging out with friends and drinking beers. And all I'm doing is seeing this on Instagram. I'm sitting in my parents' house trying to work and grow a business. And I see all my friends out enjoying their life and having the time of their life. And some of my friends even asked me, like, what are you doing? You say you're working all the time, but you're not making any money. So like, what are you working on? And that one hurt too, because I wanted to make money. It's not like I was trying to not make money, but it's just a process that you have to go through. So you have to be very strong mentally to get through those times, because a lot of people would have quit during those times. They would have gone out and partied with their friends. They would have gone out and enjoyed the things that they wanted to do, but I just had a bigger vision and I wanted to continue growing. So that was my first step in the real estate business. And like I said, it took me a year from actually trying to find my first rental property to buying it. Instant gratification is not a thing. And then when I bought that house, I was 20 years old. I thought I was doing a little something, but in all reality, I wasn't doing anything. It wasn't comparable to any of the goals that I had. And at the time, I was still very, very young, emotionally especially, and I cared a lot about what other people thought about me. So I never posted on social media. I didn't really talk about what I was doing that much because I was too nervous of what other people thought about me. They never paid my bills, anything like that, but I was focused on them instead of myself. I also still let the nerves get the best of me. So anytime I would go out there and do something big, I would go out there and try and buy a house, or I would make an offer on a property, or I would just freak out about something I saw on social and thought somebody was talking bad about me. Nervousness was a very normal thing for me back in the day. And one of the biggest things is I still tried to control the uncontrollables. You cannot control 90% of the things that happen in life. Majority of the things that happen, you have zero control over them. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I spent 90% of my time trying to control the things that I could not control. That was kind of like my first understanding of emotional intelligence going in, like growing in business, right? So the next thing is that I wanted to start flipping houses. So I paid 25 grand. I maxed out all my credit cards to hire a mentor to teach me the business of real estate. Thought I was going to get rich overnight. The get rich quick scheme. I was on it, right? Didn't work out like that. From that day to the day that I made money flipping houses was a 16-month process. Try working for 16 months straight and not making a single penny. A lot of dark times. I was working 50 to 60 hours a week, valeting cars. I was going to college, a community college, because I didn't want to get caught up in all the drama and all the hype with all my friends, because I promised my mother I'd get my college degree. So I was going to college full time, taking 15 credit hours, and I was trying to start my real estate business. Real estate was my dream. Everything else was just a waste of time to me. But that's part of the process you got to go through. Things don't happen overnight. There's no such thing as instant gratification. So some of the big lessons that I learned during that 16-month period was that it's never a matter of if, but only a matter of when. It's never a matter of if something actually happens. It's only a matter of when something happens. Now, what that means is you can't just sit back and, chill and relax and wait for that magic thing to happen. It definitely doesn't work like that. If you take consistent action in the right direction, something will eventually happen. It might be a day, it might be a week, it might be a year, it might be 5 years, but inevitably you're gonna get there. The next thing that I learned is things never happen according to plan. House rehabs never happen according to plan. The way you're gonna get rich never happens according to plan. The person you're gonna be with or the person you might marry never happens according to plan. Very, very few things happen according to plan, so you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And one of the biggest things that was very difficult for me to understand at the beginning, you will miss out on a lot of things when you're trying to go after your dreams. The hanging out with your friends, the going out and partying at night, the getting dinner and lunch with them, the going to college possibly for some of you if you're younger, you may never have those experiences. And looking back at the time, I hated it because I wanted those experiences. But looking back, now I'm able to do the things that those people are not able to do. So I'm blessed for it now, but it hurt at the time. Then I finally flipped my first house. I bought it, I renovated, I sold it. I made over $100,000 in profit at the age of 22 years old. Now, I didn't spend a single penny of that money. I put it in the bank, I paid off my debt, put it in the bank, went back to valeting cars, and went back to school. Now, this is the moment where I first realized what belief in oneself can do to you. Because at that time, I started to believe in myself. I made $100,000. I had a $100,000 check in my hand. Belief starts to happen at that point. So then I flipped a few more houses and I ended up moving out of my parents' house and moving into my first house. Now that first house was something that's called a house hack. So I was able to buy that property with none of my own money and I was able to live there for free for almost 2 years. And I was able to live with some of my best friends. So if you want to learn how to house hack, make sure you check out this video here after this video so you can learn how to do the same thing. Now in this house, my office was literally in the attic. It was in the 3rd floor attic of this property. So one of the biggest things that I had to learn was time management. I was living with some of my best friends. Some of them just got out of college. They were, trying to kick it and live life. So time management was huge. Because I could have got caught up in just hanging with them, walking downstairs, watching TV, playing video games, whatever it was. But no, time management's important. When it was work time, it was work time. When it was chill time, it was chill time. Now at this time too, I was a few properties into flipping. What I understood is leverage. So I always understood leveraging other people's money to buy and renovate houses, but I never understood what leveraging other people's time meant. But what that means is you leverage other people's time to do work so then you can go out there and build a bigger and better business and make more money. So at this time is about the time when I hired my first employee, my assistant. And then right at that time, I actually ended up signing a lease at my first office building. So I moved in to my first office. And very quickly, I had to learn how to manage people. Up until then, it was just me. I just knew everything right here. Once you have a team, guess what? You got to put everything in systems because you got to transfer what's in here to them so they can start doing those things. So I very, very quickly had to learn how to manage people. And right about this time, about 6 months after moving into my office, single-handedly, the biggest thing that changed my life was complete, utter belief in myself. Not caring about what anybody else had to say about me and believing that I can actually do and achieve what I want to do and achieve. In that office, we probably flipped about 100 properties, but then I wanted to grow and scale to the next level. I had an assistant and acquisitions person at the time. I wanted an assistant, acquisitions, sales, dispositions, project manager. I wanted this big old team because I was watching what other people were doing on social media and I thought that that's what I wanted. They were doing this massive growth. They were crushing it on social media and I thought that's what I wanted. So I bought an office building. I built a team. We started doing properties. But what happened was that the profit margin didn't really change much. I was putting all this extra time in, managing all these extra people, all this overhead, but my money at the end of the day didn't change too much. So one of my biggest lessons learned is to not follow what other people are doing because you'll get caught up chasing something that you don't really want. And leading up to that, for like 2 years, I wanted to move to Florida. That was always my dream, to move to Florida, to live by the ocean. I just believed that water brings energy and that's what I wanted, but I kept telling myself that I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave Columbus. The business needed me. I needed to be there to make everything happen. Finally, 2 years later, I finally realized that I didn't need that. As long as I had the right teams, the right systems, the right processes, the right people around me, you can do business from anywhere if you structure it the right way. So I finally decided to make the decision to move down to Florida. I literally got here 3 days ago. Got this view. This is like one of my whys, is to just wake up to the ocean every single day, and I absolutely love it here so far. But some of the biggest mindset shifts to get me to this position, to be able to pick up and move to Florida, spend a lot more money for my living expenses, and be able to live life how I want to live life, was committing to something and then figuring the rest out later. You know, I used to always want to have every answer to everything before making the decision. Now I make a commitment, I figure it out. You know, my girl and I were like, all right, we're moving to Florida. Boom, that's it. Then we had to figure the rest out. Where are we staying? Where are we going? How are we going to do business from there? Everything else in between. Make the commitment and figure the rest out later. The next one, don't care about anybody else's opinion. Social media is the killer of this, because you go out there and you see what everybody says. You're scared to post on social media because you don't want negative feedback. You cannot care what anybody has to say about you, because everybody will always have something to say about you. The next thing is, when I'm uncomfortable, it means I'm growing. I always wanted to be comfortable, right? Now when I'm uncomfortable, it's growth time. Moving here, very uncomfortable. Everything changes. It's growth time. And like I mentioned before, the other thing is belief in yourself. You gotta believe in yourself. So I wanted to make this video so you could see what the process actually looks like. You know, I started literally in my parents' house, and now I'm in Florida with the views of the ocean, which is something I always wanted. You can't do anything you put your mind to. It's gonna take time, it's gonna take determination, it's gonna take commitment. There will be dark times, I promise you that. But as long as you keep taking the right actions, you will get to where you wanna be. So I'm curious though, what are you struggling with? What are you most fearful of? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of somebody else's opinion? What is it? Drop a comment in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the next one.